John, I know you've been watching on for some time. You gave money to the Conservatives and backed Boris Johnson, but I know you've seen Keir Starmer too. He's been trying to get your support. Have you made your mind up?
No, not at all yet, no. I think the one thing that's fairly clear, I'm not going to be a Conservative voter. I think what the Conservative Party and Rishi did throughout COVID was really, really appalling. There was a huge waste of money and policies put into place that were not fair and were ridiculously overgenerous in some cases and undergenerous in others. So there's a lot wrong with what he did. So I was very critical of Rishi right the way through his Chancellor days, and I've seen nothing better since he's been Prime Minister. So I think the Tories have had the day. It's too late for them to recover. So definitely not a Conservative voter, unless they change dramatically in their policies, and that would be mainly to do with energy, because we cannot keep destroying the planet. And Rishi going back from 2030 to 2035, I saw as another really negative stance.
But you are still an undecided voter, and there are plenty
undecided,
of them.
and I am still there to be won, but I just don't see the Tories coming back from this in terms of what I wish to see.
OK, well, it's interesting. Pollsters often make the point there are still lots of undecided voters, which is why the parties are working so hard. John, in terms of what the Tories could do to get you back, you say you'd need to see something completely different, but what would that look like?
Well, it would definitely look like the environment first of all, but the environment coupled with making Britain strong financially. Mm-hmm. And what I want to see is a differentiating tax scheme that encourages inward investment in science and technology industries, but especially where the environment's concerned. Because in that way, as the environment becomes more and more of an issue, and of course it's a big issue today, but it's nothing compared to what's coming down the road in 10, 20 years' time. And whatever intellectual property we develop now, whatever intellectual products we develop now, will be eminently exportable over the next few years and will really grow Britain's GDP, but also grow the GDP per capita and therefore people's standard of living. And also the jobs will be higher paid. So it's all a virtuous circle, but trying to get any government to understand that seems nigh on impossible.
John, listening to Nigel Farage and Mel Stride this morning, what went through your mind?
Oh, gosh, have we got all day? I think, first of all, I think a lot of what Nigel Farage says really hits the spot. I think he's a great orator. Whether he's an operator or not and can deliver, that's another matter. But with the Reform Party, I've got two major problems. One is that they are, I think climate deniers is maybe too strong, but they're very much about oil and gas, and that's going to be catastrophic for the future. And the second point is that Nigel himself is a big Trump supporter, and I can't sort of see any way of supporting somebody that supports somebody who I view to be immoral, unethical, and of course now proven criminal. So that bothers me. In terms of politicians in general, the problem is they sort of electioneer with the public by almost rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. And somebody needs to grab a plate and fix the leak. And the leak is very, very simple. The leak is that we have to grow GDP per capita. We have to grow people's income and at the same time support the environment. And that's why I launched Caudwell Strong Britain, which is a whole range of points of how to do that.
And you think that is the opportunity that they're all missing? Interesting.
So
you're a tough judge there, John, in the corner on all the parties. We've got another political party left to go, the SNP. So maybe we'll see if you give them any decent
John,
marks. You've also raised though already that actually you think the big parties are just missing a big opportunity here. And it's interesting. Climate change is an issue and an opportunity hasn't really come up much in the election campaign.
No, they missed the point completely. There's a way of transitioning to net zero for Britain that in a very, very lucrative and profitable way. If we had the differential corporation tax to attract inward investment in science and technology, and especially in the environment, if we put a government fund, a big government fund, not 28 billion, which the Labour Party have cut, a much bigger fund, that could be seen as an investment rather than an expenditure. And that money could be invested, co-invested alongside wealthy people, wealthy investors, and alongside the originating company who's got the technology. In that way, the cost to get to net zero would actually be a positive benefit, not a negative, because the government would be taking shares in a business that was a future business that was paying high wages and that was going to deliver great export opportunities for Britain.
Well, we'll see if the politicians are listening to you this morning.